Look, you need a bit of both is the obvious answer. But I would say that maybe for me personally, uh, and my personal evolution is it's gone from maybe the first part of my career was uh, developing those beliefs and that vision and that idea, and certain things uh, become important. You start to have these ideas that, hey, brands are part of culture. Brands should move society and people forward. Brands are ideas that can change the world. Those are some of the things that influenced me a lot in the early part of my career. And I was lucky to be surrounded by like-minded individuals at Ogilvy and TBWA. The work we did tried to bring that to life. And then I did go through a period of trying very hard to promote and propagate my point of view, especially as an independent consultant, but also inside agencies. And again, I was surrounded by a lot of like-minded people. But what does start to happen is the deeper you go into a subject matter, the greater the gap sometimes between what you yourself think and what the majority of the market is doing. And then the next step, and this is probably where I am now, is the next step in one's evolution and development becomes about learning how to manage that gap. Because one very quickly learns that, and again, I've often used this saying from back home to share with people here in the Japan market, but you probably know it. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that's really true, and you start to realize that ideas only matter if they're shared. And you've got to take people with you, and people have to be with you and want to be with you on this idea and on this quest. It's very easy to become a lone rebel voice, and it's hard to change and create meaningful. It's hard to create meaningful change in the market. Almost impossible to create meaningful change in the market and in the world as a sample of one. Now, some people have done this and they're iconic, but in the main, it's all about how you can get groups of people, communities, organizations to understand where you're coming from and go with you on a journey. At the same time, you're constantly learning what's right and wrong about what you yourself believe. That's an ongoing journey. Many things that I believed, I would say 10 years ago, some of the big things I believed have changed a lot through exposure and learning and seeing the other point of view. Especially this happens when you move from different regions, when you work in different regions, whether it's, Europe, Americas, Africa, or Asia. When you make those shifts, you very quickly start to see that there are really big differences. For example, the one YouTube video that that I have out there, which I've forgotten about, you reminded me. We were talking about brand assets and the Ehrenberg Bass Institute, which is based in Australia. It's about marketing science. Now, this was 10 years ago. At the time of the video, we'd already had a very, very successful campaign through with FNB based on that institute's work and learnings. Bernice Samuels, who's great marketer. She was, you know, I think she's got a, how would you say, a lifetime achievement award from the marketing fraternity in South Africa this year. I've forgotten the actual title, but she's part of that Hall of Fame now. But she drove that with us, and was a hugely successful banking campaign based on Ehrenberg Bass. And over those 10 years, more and more people in South Africa and in other markets surrounding and more connected to South Africa because of the interchange of ideas and the free flow of people, Ehrenberg Bass and brand assets and distinctive creative assets and memory structures, more and more people were talking about the science behind marketing. And 10 years later, one arrives in Asia to find that hardly anyone knows about it here, which has really surprised me quite a lot. So I would say that it's always surprising things that you think are common knowledge often are not. But then you also have the reverse learning, where there are things that for people here are common knowledge, but for you and I is actually like a big learning. We're like, wow, wish we'd known that. So that's a ongoing thing of, to go back to your question, this what we believe, what I believe, my own personal vision. I've realized that it's a balancing act between playing in a collective, being part of the team, even being the leader,